Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning for another news update for Thursday, October 2, 2025. And I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, Indicom probes a police fatal shooting in St. James. The Independent Commission of Investigations is investigating another fatal shooting by the police that took place in Montego Bay, St. James on the weekend. The deceased has been identified as 29-year-old Romar Wallace, also called the Marrow of Mount Carey. Investigators reported that about 9 p.m., police officers were conducting foot patrols in Railway Lane, Montego Bay, St. James on Saturday when they observed a motorcycle carrying 2 men. The officers instructed both the men to stop. However, the men responded by firing shots at the police, prompting the officers to take evasive action and return fire. One of the suspects was shot and an illegal gun in his possession seized. The other suspect escaped. Wallace was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. The cops say he has been on the police radar for several years. He was arrested and charged with illegal possession of firearm and ammunition on July 6, 2022, and is known to have been involved in theft as a part of a robbery syndicate. Westmoreland residents staged a fiery protest against the police fatal shooting. Disgruntled residents of Seton Crescent in Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland, staged a fiery protest Wednesday afternoon over Tuesday's fatal police shooting of a resident from the community. They are refuting claims from the police that Desmond Montague was killed in a confrontation at his home. The irate residents used old appliances and other debris to block the road leading to the community. Public and fire personnel were dispatched to the scene. The police had reported that Mr. Montague, otherwise called Monty, was fatally shot about 11:40 a.m. at Seton Crescent. The cops say a Taurus pistol with a magazine containing 5 rounds was seized in the operation. According to the police, they were conducting a search of Mr. Montague's residence when he allegedly pulled a firearm and pointed the weapon at them. But the residents are disputing the police's version of the event and accused the cops of executing Mr. Montague. They are calling for the Independent Commission of Investigations to conduct a thorough probe of the incident. PNP's Buchanan loses bid to void election results in St. Andrew West Central. An opposition bid to overturn the election results in Prime Minister Andrew Holness's constituency of St. Andrew West Central has been thrown out by the Constitutional Authority. After feverishly pressing his case since Election Day, Paul Buchanan, the People's National Party candidate who unsuccessfully challenged Andrew Holness in the September 3 general election, may now be forced to lay his efforts to rest. The constituted authority, which monitors Election Day activities in accordance with Section 44 of the Representation of the People Act, says it has dismissed his request to void Andrew Holness's victory. Andrew Holness received 7,054 votes to 4,953 for Mr. Buchanan. Since then, Mr. Buchanan has argued that there were irregularities, including violence and intimidation, in the Olympic Gardens and the Malines Gardens divisions that impacted the outcome of voting. The authority says in a letter dated September 16, 2025, Mr. Buchanan requested that it apply to the election court to void the election results in the seat. The challenge relied on the grounds stipulated in Section 37E of the Election Petition Act, which speaks to an upsurge in violence or any irregularity during Election Day, which would lead to a substantial distortion or subversion of the process of free and fair election. The authority says that Mr. Buchanan submitted several affidavits from himself and others in support of his request. However, after careful consideration of the affidavits and relevant case law, it found that the evidence presented did not satisfy the standard contemplated by the wording of Section 37E, resulting in its opposition. PNP condemns the suspension of medical doctor for running in general election. The People's National Party is criticizing the Southern Regional Health Authority's decision to interdict Dr. R.J. Dixon following his participation as a candidate in the recent general elections held on September 3, 2025. Dr. Dixon was reportedly suspended from his duties by the SRHA, citing breaches of the Public Service Staff Order 4.2.61, which prohibits public officers from engaging in partisan political activity. The PNP claims that this interdiction violates Dixon's constitutional rights to freedom of expression and association. In a statement on Wednesday, opposition spokesperson on justice, Zuleika Jess, denounced the SRHA's action, stating this action undermines civic participation and threatens the very freedoms our democracy is meant to protect. Such a move, whether the result of an overly zealous application of policy or misinterpretation of staff orders, has the effect of silencing those who seek to exercise their constitutional rights. The PNP is demanding the immediate reinstatement of Dr. Dixon and has urged the SRHA to reverse its decision without a delay. The party argues that the interdiction sets a dangerous precedent for public servants who wish to engage in the political process without a fear of retribution. The statement also referenced recent legal developments in the Caribbean, including court proceedings in Barbados, which struck down similar staff orders as unconstitutional. The PNP is calling for Jamaica to follow suit, urging a review and overhaul of current public service regulations. The party reaffirmed its support for Dr. Dixon and emphasized that suppressing the democratic rights of public servants has no place in a modern, free and fair Jamaica. The People's National Party stands firmly with Dr. Dixon in pursuit of justice and equality and urges the government to uphold the principles of democracy. Dr. Dixon had challenged the Jamaica Labour Party's Robert Nesta Morgan in Clarendon North Central, but fell short of flipping control of the seat in the PNP's favor. Police continue search for missing Manchester schoolboy. Police swarmed the Wesley Road area of Mandeville on Wednesday evening following reported sightings of a child believed to be the missing Manchester High School boy Jaden Smith. This after they were alerted by citizens that a child matching his description eluded passers-by who tried to approach him. The news saw several police personnel and the citizens combing the area about 6 p.m., moments after the child was spotted. An eyewitness explaining what she saw said the child ran off when citizens tried to approach him. "I was driving when I saw him, and a man was calling out to people for help. The boy was running. There was a taxi that was passing at that time too, but the boy ran off by the time I turned my car around," she said. Police confirmed that they were alerted by citizens of the child being seen. Since Tuesday, there has been an intense search for the 12-year-old child who went missing after school last Friday. The police were still in search of the child up to 7:30 p.m. Principal of Manchester High, Jasford Gabriel, and the staff from the school also turned up at a section of West Road as word of the sighting of the child spread. School principals decry overpowering stench from sewage plant near Spanish Town Road. The principals of two corporate area schools are raising concern about the persistent stench from a decades-old sewage treatment plant operated by the National Water Commission of Spanish Town Road in Kingston. They say the offensive odor affects the air quality in the school environs and interrupts the teaching and learning process. Teachers have to pause when they are teaching and the stench comes up, so they have to pause what they are doing. Sometimes they have to put their bags with their alcohol or something over their nostrils. Sometimes it's as if they are going to vomit, because that's how it is at times, Andrew Richards, principal of the Greenwich Primary School, said. 3 years ago, NWC told the news that the state agency had decommissioned the plant and that the site is now a conveyancing point for the sewage to go to the Soapberry treatment plant. Improving the site is an ongoing process, former corporate public relations manager Andrew Cannon said at the time. Richards, who had been at the school for 37 years, said some work was being done on the plant, but that whatever work they are doing has not lessened the stench. Concerned about the possible health risk of the persistent odor, Richards said some parents in the community have also opted not to send their children to the school, which decreased the school's enrollment numbers. I would like this situation to be dealt with post-haste, because it is affecting us here, it's affecting our health. Maybe some of us will not be sick today, but in the long run, we will be sick, some of us, she said, so that we can have a school where we can breathe fresh air, because over there, the quality of the air isn't good, and we breathe it in every day. So I'm asking people in high places, please help us, she said. Meanwhile, Marlene Reed, principal of the Caribbean Palms Early Childhood Institution, bemoaned the fact that her students had to get used to the stench. It is affecting the school enormously, because especially when the smell comes up, we have to be covering our noses, covering our mouths, telling the children not to talk, stuff like that. So they actually have gotten used to it, and it's really daunting at times to know that the children have to be experiencing this, she said. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.